Good evening. It is 6:01 and we see people coming into the webinar. Welcome. We'd like to welcome you to the district's first parent university of the new school year. And we're just going to give maybe another minute and a half for more people to get into or sign into the webinar. So give us about another minute and a half so we can get more participants online, and then we're going to jump right into tonight's learning. Again, I see more people coming online with us for tonight's Parent University. Uh, the topic tonight is resetting the learning environment. We hope to engage you with understanding about processes and procedures that have been put in place to reset the learning environment on all of our campuses throughout the school district this year. Parent University is designed to empower and engage parents by providing resources, and awareness is one of those resources. We want you to be aware of the new programming that has gone out district-wide. Overall, we are hoping to build a partnership with you, our parents, and the school district for overall student achievement and well-being. I'd also like to announce, as more parents are coming in, that Parent University will be held the fourth Monday of each month, except those short months where we have breaks, November, December, and May. Those Parent University sessions will fall on the third Monday. And so we're going to wait about 30 more seconds before jumping into our presentation for more parents to get in. All right, Jonah, if you will advance to the next screen. Tonight, we are offering this main room where you are currently in the main room, and this will be primarily for English language. We do have another room offering if you need a Spanish room. So simultaneously, we will have our English language room, and then we're also going to have our Spanish language room. And so there are directions on the screen if you would like to transition to the Spanish room. We're going to give everyone a little time to transition over if they would like to select the Spanish room. So for those of you just coming online with us, I see you coming in. We are giving participants an opportunity to transition to the Spanish interpretation room if they would like to switch over. Going forward, we hope to continue to offer different rooms and build on our ability to offer even more rooms for more language needs. So going forward with our parent universities, that is one of the things that we're going to continue to build with being able to offer different rooms based on the language needs indicated by our parent participants. All right, Jonah, about 15 more seconds and we will move forward. Again, welcome to our parent university. Tonight's parent university, along with all parent universities, are hosted by the Department of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. Under the EDI umbrella is parent and family engagement. I'm Angie Lee. I am so glad you all are participating with us tonight. I'm the Executive Director of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. On the team, we have Alejandra Phillips. She is the Family Engagement Liaison. Jonah Ballesteros, who is a Program Specialist, and Maria Etherton, who is our Family Engagement Coordinator. We encourage and welcome you to reach out to us whenever there is a need or concern, and we have included our main office number on the screen for you. Again, you can reach us through email, or you can reach us by calling our main office number. Tonight, we are fortunate enough to have with us the student services team. They are actually going to facilitate the learning for tonight over resetting the learning environment and all of the components that go along with resetting the learning environment. And so I would like to introduce you first to Joe Maniscalco. He is the Senior Executive Director of Student Services. And we have Dr. Summer Martin, our Executive Director of Counseling and Prevention Services. Tiffany Freza, she is the Lead Behavior Support Specialist. And TJ Nelson, who is the Student Services Administrator. As a reminder, for some of you who may not know, Student Services houses a variety of offices, some of which are student services, student services regarding discipline and attendance, student welfare, behavior support, counseling and prevention services, along with our refugee services. And so under that umbrella of student services, their team includes a dynamic array of offices and support services that are offered to families. And so with that, we are going to turn tonight's learning. Sorry, the norms, I forgot. So we just want to quickly go through our norms for tonight. We are in a virtual setting, but we encourage you to be present and welcoming. We have our chat feature open, so you are encouraged to interact with us and be present and welcoming if you're going to engage in the chat. Listen deeply to learn. They have prepared a wonderful presentation centered around parents, helping parents understand what we mean when we say resetting the learning environment. You've heard about a lot of different initiatives and programming, and they're really going to unpack what those are for us tonight. When things get difficult, turn to wonder. Sometimes, there are some hot topic conversations that happen we're going to touch a little bit on the Yonder Pouch tonight. And I know I've heard a lot of conversation from my friends, district staff, parents in the community. So that can be a hot topic, a hot button item to talk about. But we encourage you when things get difficult, still lean in to the learning. Find out and listen deeply to the information, the why of the Yonder Pouch. Turn to wonder and then manage your impact on the room. Again, we will have our chat feature open. We encourage you to type in questions as you're going through the learning tonight. If you have a question, some of us will be in the chat, managing the chat, looking for questions to pull forward and working through those questions as quickly as we can. But again, in your chat or if you're going to participate in the chat, just manage your impact on the room as far as what you're chatting about. And so with that, I am going to turn it over to the Student Services team.
Dr. Martin, just wanted to make sure that you were out there and you were steering tonight. Just wanted to start off this evening's presentation with a big thank you to all of our parents. We greatly appreciate you being on. As we get started, last spring, we were charged by our superintendent to really create an environment that was safe, respectful, and responsible for your students, right? To be able to come and be ready to learn on a regular basis. And so tonight, members of our student services team are going to take us through some of those implementation areas and share with you the thinking behind those and the effect and impact that they're having.
Good evening, everyone. And yes, I appreciate that, Mr. Maniscalco. While I was sharing my screen, I could not find where I needed to unmute. We've been doing this virtual thing for about 4 years now, but we still find that we have problems unmuting. And so to talk about that time, some of this really started back when we were on COVID and we were learning how to do online learning and learn from home. And from that time, we have really seen such a difference in our students. And we are seeing research showing that our brains have been impacted by COVID, and the outcomes, whatever they might have been for you and your family, in many ways. And it doesn't matter how old we were when that happened, it has impacted all of us. And so over the past few years, we have been seeing some behavior and some things that we want to impact because it's impacting our learning environment. And so we, together in student services with many other groups in the district, put together a few things that we're going to talk to you about tonight. One of them was our partnership with Yonder to impact the student cell phone, how it disrupts the classroom. And then we also want to talk about our code of civility. And our code of civility is very important to us because, like I said, as we're seeing in the research that our brains are different and our behavior is different because of COVID, we needed to put something in place that could really help us stand up and say, this is how we behave, this is what we believe in Richardson ISD, and how we're all going to treat each other, because the outcomes from COVID have really lent itself to showing us, we're not always treating each other the way that we used to. And so that is really where we're coming from tonight, is how we as a district are resetting that learning environment and taking a positive stand for all of our students, for us as staff members, for you as parents, for our community members, because we live and work in a wonderful place, and we want it to stay that way for our children. And so our quote leading into this is, let's partner together to provide a safe, responsible, nurturing, and inclusive learning environment for all children. And whenever we put together the code of civility and we proposed Yonder pouches, of course, we took it to our wonderful superintendent, Tabitha Branham, and she said, yes, we need to go for these things. And so our directive is really coming from the top. This is what Tabitha absolutely believes, that we want everybody to be able to learn in a safe, respectful, and responsible environment. So we wanted to show you a little clip from her keeping tabs that will help you understand a little bit more.
Dr. Martin, we're probably going to have to replay it. There was no sound.
There's no sound associated with this?
No, with the video.
Okay. Well, we may be having a little technical issues with this, but Ms. Branham goes on to talk about our code of civility specifically, and then she talks more about yonder pouches. So if we can figure out how to make sure the sound gets there, we will play that. But while we are waiting to figure out that, I'm going to slide on to the next slide and let Mr. Nelson talk about yonder specifically. Well, maybe one. There we go.
All righty, everybody. So the topic that we love and we hate, yonder pouches. As we know, back in 2022, we really did a revamp in some of our cell phone policy. And one of those revamps included one of our schools taking on yonder pouches, really piloting and running with it and say, hey, we need something new. We need to make a change. Let's go ahead and implement this yonder pouch, right? And so we started with one school in 2022. From then, it kind of caught fire. We upgraded to 5 schools in 23-24 school year, and now we're up to 8 schools. And so currently, we have yonder at all of the high schools. We have it in half of the junior highs. And honestly, the way it's looking is we'll probably have it in all of the junior highs, all of the secondary, really, next year. And so just with our cell phone policy, right, it was easy to tell, and we all know this as students. You have students, they have iPads, they have cell phones. Everybody has their own form of yonder, right, in their home. Whether it's at the dinner table, right? No cell phones at the dinner table. Let's be present. Let's talk to each other. And so, really, yonder pouches are a way to ensure, right, that we can get as much engagement from these students as we can. Okay. And so, as you know, um, if you've been to a comedy show, a concert, or anything like that, right? They have started to also implement yonder pouches. Why? Because they want the engagement. They want you to be in the moment. They want you to be focused. They want you to be present to what's kind of going on at whatever you're at. And so with yonder pouches being implemented in the schools, we have the same goals in mind, right? To increase engagement and increase just social behavior. And so, Joe, you wanted to jump in?
Sure, just wanted to provide some additional information. As we got started with Yonder, really from the beginning, we wanted to create an environment that was really focused on learning. The Yonder pouches just happened to be a tool that allowed us to really take that temptation out of the hands of students, really, and then really allow for the environment to be focused on the instructional work that we want, and I'm sure that you want for your students. We have found that, and we've surveyed our teachers, obviously, as parents, you've been surveyed, our students. It's pretty clear the survey results from a student perspective. They're not in great favor of the Yonder pouch. However, those campuses where Yonder has been in place, what we have found is that students have learned to live with that. It may not be the greatest thing. They've loved their cell phones and have a hard time putting them away. But one of the things we found is that the level of engagement and communication between students. We even had a campus, 2 campuses, 2 districts actually, asked to visit one of our campuses so that they could just witness what takes place in the cafeteria, right? So we see students talking, not on their phones. So really, over time, we've seen an improvement relative to communication. Our teachers have found that we're regaining instructional time back in the classroom, which we need, and that we're seeing a decrease really in overall attendance issue, or excuse me, behavioral issues related to cell phones, bullying, any of the negative connections that we've had with cell phones in the past. So just thought I'd add to that. TJ, thanks for letting me pop in there.
Yeah, of course. And just kind of some feedback we've also received from students. I mean, of course, probably 99% of students were not in favor of yonder pouches whenever we first implemented, but now, some students and a lot of students are quite fond of it. Like our goal was to increase engagement, increase interaction, right? Students have shared that their grades have come up, that they've made more friends, they're more interactive in the school. And so they've learned not to be so reliant on their phone for interaction or just to stay busy, right? Students used to run out of the building when Yonder was first implemented, hurry and try to unlock that phone so they can get on and see what's going on, right? Now, students really take their time. They've learned, again, not to be so reliant on that phone, and they're not so eager. Even students are sharing, even at home, they don't pick up the phone as much
Right.
because they're just kind of used to not being always with it. Um,
I'm
and
gonna
so,
I'm gonna
I know,
jump in, TJ. Hate to cut you off, but there are a couple comments in the chat.
mhm.
One of the things that I would like to direct all parents to really access the Student Services website to really evaluate the guidelines that we have related to cell phone use. TJ, you're in campuses on a regular basis, right? And you work directly with those guidelines. One of the questions that we know, unfortunately, with the challenges that we're seeing related to school violence, accessing the phone, many parents have had questions surrounding that. We have safety protocols in place. Obviously, we have school resource officers and security personnel in the buildings. And so many people want to know, what's the process for our students communicating back with parents during a situation that we're seeing readily across our country. One of the things that a part of our security protocols is we ask that students pay attention, obviously remain silent in the classroom. So with Yonder or with cell phones in pouches, that allows them to really stay focused on the protocol. And then after we have deemed that we're in a safe situation, we will absolutely let students access their cell phones and communicate with parents. But all that information is posted currently out on our website for you to view. I'd encourage you, by all means, you can call my office, communicate with me directly about what those processes are. The cell phone, someone asked about the cell phone pouch. Really, you drop your cell phone in a magnetized pouch that remains closed throughout the entire day, and we demagnetize that pouch at the end of the day, allowing students to have access to that. So, just want to make sure that we appreciate, the transition as we move to the Yonder use and appreciate your questions. TJ?
Yeah. And so, but yeah, the pouches, just to kind of close up the pouches, pouches have been great. We've received great feedback from student, teachers, admin on them. Incidents are down, like I'm seeing in the chat, incidents are down, and engagement, grades, overall student success is on the rise. And so that's our overall goal. And so, like I said, we have pouches at all of the high schools, and we may be predicting all of the secondary from the following year. So it's been a great initiative. So we're going to kind of transition into a video
We're
that
actually,
talks a little.
TJ, we're going to go back to the video we missed from Superintendent Branham, and then we're going to transition to that next video. I'm sorry, we figured out a little bit of our sharing issues. So
Gotcha.
I always love technology when it works.
Yeah. And we still have no sound. Jenna, do we know if we'll be able to get sound? Do you want us to keep going?
Well, Dr.
Okay, hold on.
Marquez, okay,
Richardson ISD.
Can you all hear?
in
Yes.
yes.
Okay, let me repeat that.
As we embark on a new year, I wanted to take a moment to talk about expectations for how we interact with each other in our ISD. Richardson ISD is a beautiful community in which safety, respect, and responsibility are an active part of the fabric of our schools, community, and staff. To support our continued goals for a safe and secure learning environment, we are implementing the RISD Code of Civility this year. The Code of Civility is an opportunity for our students, parents, and employees and greater community to model the behaviors that are safe, respectful, and responsible as we work together as a school community. How we treat each other matters. The words we choose to speak to each other matter. And even when we disagree, we can do so in a respectful and responsible way. I call upon everyone, and especially our adults, to join me in doing our part by modeling civility for our children and students who most assuredly are watching and learning from how we say things and treat others.
Dr. Martin, tell us where you would like us to go next.
Let's go to the next one after the cell phone policy, because we do have another video that I think TJ wanted to introduce.
Yes, and so this video right here just talks a little bit more about Yonder pouches and kind of how students feel about it and how it's been going in the classes, as well as some admin get to chime in on the video as well. So let's take a listen at this.
My freshman in high school, there was that teacher stopping and having to address students who were on their phone doing instructional time. It was a significant impact on the amount of time we had to learn in class, the amount of time the teacher could teach. Sophomore year, where we had just the cell phone policy, and I think with the underpouches, there was still some of that stopping in between, but I think we saw less of that the more that the maturity was there. Now with the underpouches, I think, obviously there's no really interruptions. I think in my class specifically, I'm only surrounded by seniors. And so again, it's that maturity thing. But I think that with the younger pouches that I haven't seen any teachers having to stop their instructional time to address students because they were on their cell phone. The cell phone policy has increased that engagement. I think it has made kids more willing to be attentive to the environment that we're in. And so I think in general, as a whole, the cell phone policy is a good thing.
It's been life-changing. We could never go back, and I hope we never do go back, because the campus has just changed. There's a sense of calm about the campus that we hadn't seen before. During passing periods, kids are talking. It's loud, but they're not looking down and bumping into others on their phones. Teachers can teach. The cafeteria is much different, where before kids would be looking down, not talking to each other. One teacher even recruited her husband to come and work in Richardson, and so we hired him because she could only say good things, and she always says she passes 7 schools on her way to Lake Highlands High School, and she can easily work closer to home, but she talks about Yonder and the support that she gets with that. The teachers like our plan of support, where if a student does have a device, they just email me, and then within 2 or 3 minutes, an admin is in their room coming to collect the phone and not causing a disruption, and they can continue teaching. And it's just a positive environment right now. No one's really worried about a cell phone.
So we really appreciate that young man, so well spoken, explaining what a difference it has made in the classroom for him. And Ms. Jones talking about in the hallway the difference that it has made. So we are happy that we have partnered with Yonder to give time back in the classroom to stay away from the cell phones. So now, in talking about our code of civility, one of the things we were just talking about is the importance of safety for our students. And so over the past few years, like I was mentioning, we have seen such an increase in behavior that is like it just happens all of a sudden. Very quickly, a student will go from 0 to 10 just like that, and they're angry about something. And we've seen that on the news with adults, and it's everywhere that people have a lower tolerance when something happens to them. And that is a direct result of what we have been through over the past few years. And we are really working with students to try and help them understand the coping strategies that they can use through this. But we have found that we need to take it a step further with everybody to make sure that we have safe schools in Richardson ISD and that we are respectful and responsible. So the Code of Civility started from one of our committee works called our Live Wise, Live Healthy initiative here in Richardson ISD. And Live Wise, Live Healthy focuses a lot on prevention, things like suicide prevention, bullying prevention, substance use, dating violence, and things of that nature. And so we provide activities for students, staff, and community members throughout the months every year. And with that, we have an advisory committee that helps us determine the different things that they're seeing from a parent perspective or from a teacher or a principal perspective. And our advisory committee is made up of a variety of different members, which includes, like I said, our parents that are out there who would like to volunteer to help give their feedback, some of our staff members, we have some community members, we have some of our partners, our community partners with groups like the Network of Community Ministries is one that comes to our meetings. Meadows Mental Health Policy Institute comes to our meetings, and they help give us feedback and help us plan these activities. And so one of the charges we received last year from Superintendent Branham was to create a code of civility, something that we as a community could stand on as everybody together of what we believe we should behave. And so together, when we started talking about what was important, everybody discussed the fact that we wanted our students to be safe, we wanted them to be respectful and responsible. And those are three standards that, everybody has to live by out in the world in some form or fashion. And so the expectation that we could all do this as people who work with students, be it either as a staff member, as a parent, community member, or other peers, is a great way for us to go forward with this charge. So we came up with safe, respectful, and responsible. And I will say that has really taken off this year, that I hear it at all campuses. We are safe, respectful, responsible. How are we being safe? How are we being respectful? I know that they're starting to talk about it at football games. Remember, Richardson ISD is safe, respectful, and responsible. So we're going to get into the details about that. But on the next slide, we have another little video, a little bit more about the Code of Civility.
Everybody must have in order to live and interact with society. We must be safe in our surroundings and other people's surroundings. We have to be respectful of the people we are interacting with, and we have to also be respectful of the space that we are in, if it's somebody else's property, our property, and we have to be responsible to uphold the things that we've been asked to do. Those three things, we are safe, respectful, and responsible, are going to carry our students throughout their lives. And so it makes sense that it's for staff and for our parents, because those are three things that everybody needs to live by. Our children end up mirroring a lot of what we do, and we don't even realize it. They just learn by watching. And so if our interactions with another adult are not in a respectful manner, they are more likely to interact with their peers in a disrespectful manner as well. So we want to model that for anybody around us, because the more they see it, the more they'll understand that's how I need to behave as well. The expectation is that anybody who interacts with anybody from our ISD in a building, at an event, in one of our facilities, treats each other safely, respectfully, and responsibly.
And so I want you to think about something like a football game that we have. We have a lot of football games going on, homecomings coming up, and the number one thing that we all want is for everybody there to be safe. And so the Code of Civility is not just for students, because it's not just students that we interact with, it's staff members, it's parents, it's community members. And so each of those tenets are very impactful for our students, be it the belongings that they have, the things that they've been given from the school, respecting the property that they're on, is highly important. And it's very weird to mention the video that I was just in, but like I just said in the video, it's also important that we talk about modeling, because you as parents know your students, they model your behavior. And if you think about maybe when your child was young, or you may have young children now, when they stand like you, or they do something that was you, and you go, oh my gosh, they're a little mini me. And, you know, we all delight in that. And those are fun stories. But at the same time, the behavior that we express whenever we are, you know, dissatisfied with something, or we are upset, the words that we use, even when we're talking about somebody, we may be talking to our spouse or our partner about something that happened, and we're saying things about the interaction, we're saying it about another person, translate to our children, because they then start using those words. They look to us as their parents to figure out how to behave. And so that is one of the other reasons why we want our parents to follow along with safe, respectful, and responsible. So you will see these posters around RASD, and you'll even see it and hear about it from your students' teachers, with some of the ways that we are implementing safe, respectful, and responsible. And Jonah, if you could go ahead and go to the next slide. We are going to talk about how we are doing that. And I'm going to turn it over to our wonderful behavior support specialist. She is the lead for our team, Ms. Tiffany Frezza, and she's going to talk about our work with emergent tree and reach and respond routines.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, emergent tree is what our district has adopted as a tier 1, which is providing strategies and support with consistency across the district. One of the main pieces of emergent tree, there is 6 components on a tray that we're teaching all teachers on how to use proactive strategies, just kind of like the yonder pouch. We're putting things in place to prevent behaviors from happening. And so the goal is in our district this year is that we are all using the same language and we all have the same core values on every campus, which is our safe, respectful, and responsible. And a great piece of emergent tree is the reach and response routine, which is beautiful. I'm a huge relationship person. Everybody that I work with knows that I'm built off of all relationships. You really can get a lot done when you have those solid relationships. And so when I'm working with teachers, I always just kind of get on my soapbox at every PD that I do. I always want to talk about how important it is to have those relationships before you can move any further into the academics piece. Yes, academics is what we're here for. We want kids to learn, but at the same time, we need to be able to build relationships, and not only build relationships with them, but we need to be able to model how to do it. Like Dr. Martin said, we've kind of got lost in some of those things. Once COVID hit, we kind of lost those social pieces. And so it's really important that we have solid relationships with our students. So part of the reach and response is greeting every student at the door. And not just saying, hey, good morning, being a little bit more like calling names, maybe doing a fist pump. Some teachers have it to where you can choose like a thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down, maybe a quick little dance, just really kind of checking in on students. And so these are a few examples, like how are you doing today? The student can just do nonverbal and can do the fist pump. It can be the middle, and it'll just kind of decide, I'm feeling great, I'm kind of so-so, and I'm not doing great. And the second example, same situation, having it in English and Spanish. Different campus. This is at Richland. You can just tap it as you go. The beauty of it is just kind of doing a nice check-in when students are entering in your classroom. So the goal is not for it to just occur first thing in the morning. We want teachers that are getting a new group of kids throughout the day, that this still happens. So yes, you may have a student that is a morning person and they're fist pumping, or they're giving you the thumbs up, or they're going to tap the green smiley face. But by the time they get to math, maybe it's not a content area that they love, they're not going to give you that high five fist pump. And so the goal is really to do check-ins with students throughout the day. The nice piece with this is if we see that a student is not where they need to be, this is where we need to get involved. And so if it's not the teacher directly checking in with the student, it could be a support person like myself, can be reached with some of my team members. We have our school counselors. Some campuses have social workers, some have intervention counselors. So there's a lot of support staff members. We have several elementaries with culture coaches as well, and they are really a big piece of helping with this area. And so it's just nice to kind of check in with our students and kind of do a temperature check. You may hear temperature check, you may hear a climate check, but it's happening throughout the day just to make sure our kids are feeling good and feeling safe at being at school and are ready to learn. Next slide.
Yeah, I love that because it really helps us see where our kids are so that they can tell us what's going on and we can intervene and get them ready to learn. And that's what this is all about, is getting them ready to learn in a place where everybody is being respectful and being treated, kindly, and they are building those relationships. So really, we really want to partner with you. So how can you help support us with our code of civility at home? So John, if you would go ahead and go to that next slide, and Tiffany's going to talk about some of the things that will help us be safe, respectful, and responsible at school.
Absolutely. So the goal for looking at our core values, transferring that over to the home, is really making sure we embed it with the students at school and then partner with homes just to make sure it's generalized at school and at home. And so it's really important that the language is the same. It may look a little bit different at home, but we still want to have those core values. Like I stated, modeling the behavior you want to see. That's huge for what we really push for teachers. And it would be phenomenal if they're getting the same thing outside of school so they can see those positive behaviors being modeled by adults. As we all know, children, they're sponges. They absorb everything that they see, even if it's positive or negative. And so it's really important that we're modeling what we want our children to do outside of school. Provide rewards. That's huge. Again, going back to that whole relationship piece, it's hard to do that instructions piece if we don't have some kind of motivation in place. And so I think it's great and it doesn't have to be monetary. It could just be, maybe spending a little bit more time. Maybe instead of going straight home, we'll just, go have some fun at the park and maybe read a book together or just take a walk. Or maybe we'll play a game together. So it doesn't, like I said, have to be where it's something tangible. It could just be just that bonding and that communication between guardians and children. And that's kind of what we foster at school as well. We don't necessarily want to always give kids, we'll give you some candy or some chips. It's really just giving them some positive rewards that would benefit them in the long run. Allow mistakes. I mean, who doesn't make a mistake and learn from it? That's the goal, right? And we want children to make mistakes. We want them to be able to learn how to cope with those mistakes and kind of have those natural consequences in order to, fix it and learn from it. Create a supportive environment. That's definitely a plus. I know we do that very strongly at school. And so kids get very fostered around having that stable supportiveness at school. And if that can be emulated at home, that also will help with that transition of smoothness working between home and school as well. And then there's a few more. Giving your child responsibility. That's huge. We do that quite often at school. No matter if they're in pre-K or all the way up to the high school, we really have to have that opportunity of giving them to take some responsibility and accountability for themselves. And so as long as it's age appropriate, I think it's a beautiful thing to do. How would they learn if they don't have the responsibility or the accountability given back to them? And so I think that's very important to provide those opportunities outside of the school setting to where they can have some responsibility for their actions. Spending quality time together, I mean, that's huge. I know we all work long hours. Totally get it. It's hard to kind of balance sometime, but even if it's just pockets of time, like on the way to school, on the way home from school, grocery shopping. You can just make it into natural settings. It doesn't have to be like a sit and get. Um, Same thing at school. I mean, we really do that, flawless, to where our kids are not sitting and getting all the time. They're moving around. We're making sure every child is getting hands-on with us. So that could be like stations and rotations, checking in at the teacher table, very small time pockets, but making it very meaningful. And so it could be the same thing outside of school, where it's just a little bit of time each day. It could be before bedtime. If you, with the younger kids, during bath time, just really having that conversation. And sometimes, to be honest, it does help when those small times are made at home, because there may be things going on at school that we may not be able to really know. There's lots of eyes in a building, but sometimes things happen at school. Maybe there was a disagreement between students and one student took it the wrong way, and you know didn't think of it at the time, but now that they got home, it kind of like revolved again. And so it's really helpful even having those conversations on not just how was your day at school, but maybe what was meaningful at school. What did you bring away from school today? And it doesn't necessarily have to be the content area. I know kids, we sometimes have to drill and kill them and get them to that instructional level. And so it's okay if it's not content. I know the same question is, what did you learn? Um, I know I would love to hear my child to say that she learned to solve some type of conflict at school, or her group project didn't go well. Not that, yeah, it was good. Math was good, just kind of going down like her schedule. So sometimes just that small talk, it can really be very huge for us on a campus level, and obviously at home, and it keeps that line of communication open with your child as well. And taking your child seriously. Sometimes, even for us at school, we'll hear some things and we're like, that doesn't sound right, but we're not going to just brush it off. We're going to look into it. So even if it just sounds outrageous, we're definitely going to look into it regardless. And I feel like it's very important as a parent or a guardian to also do that as well, because again, something may slip at school. It could be transitioning, leaving school, getting onto the bus, and we may miss something. And so if you ever feel like, something's a little off, or you're thinking to your child, well, that sounds kind of ridiculous. It's never going to bother us if you shoot us an email or a phone call just to double check something. So please take them serious when y'all are having those conversations. And give them some advice, give them some positive advice. Talk to them as, when you were a kid, maybe this happened, and how would you deal with it? And so really just, having those true, genuine conversations with your child would be beneficial for them in the long run.
I love what you said about the questions about the end of the day, Tiffany, because I know one of the questions that I've heard parents ask that I think is really great is, who did you help today? Or who did you see helping someone else? Because we do focus a lot on what did they learn, which is one of the most important things about school. But with the code of civility and what we have been seeing, we really want them to be building relationships and looking out for ways that they can help others and reach out and be good servant leaders. And so that's a question that you can ask. So I love these questions and these opportunities for us to just have little pockets of time with our kids to hear more about their day and to help model good behavior. And that will help them, like you said, feel secure and be ready to go into school and learn, because that's what we want. We want kids who are ready to learn when they get to school every day. So Jonah, we can go ahead and go on to the next slide.
All
Okay.
right, so as we begin to close out, we're gonna kind of head that way with the optimistic closure called "Suit Yourself." So if you go to the next one, that way I can kind of explain what we're doing. So as we know, in a deck of cards, you have hearts, clubs, diamonds, and spades. And so each one of these suits kind of stand for something. And so hearts, something from your heart. How did you feel? What did it mean to you? Clubs, things that grew, new ideas, new thoughts, a new point of view, maybe. Diamonds, gems that last forever. What are some of the gems of wisdom gathered from people or content? And then spades, used to dig in the garden. This generates conversation about planting new ideas or things participants dug up during this presentation. And so we want to use this kind of closure activity just to get some thoughts from you guys. So feel free to type into the chat um, just kind of what resonate with you, whether it's heart clubs, diamonds, spades. We can leave this up there just for a little bit. That way y'all don't have to try to memorize what each one is. And so we'd love to hear from you as we begin to close this out. And so if you can't think of anything right now, that's fine. Just kind of keep these things in your mind as we move forward. As Tiffany said previously, you can always reach out to whoever you might feel comfortable with, campus principal, any of support staff, if you have any questions or just wanted more information or kind of discussion around these things. And so, if we want to kind of continue.
Can I add something, Tony?
Yeah.
So even with the cards to suit yourself, you can actually do this with your children at home a little bit as well. So it may be fun conversation if you guys are gonna like maybe play like a card game, or if you just have cards laying around the house. I mean, this could be a way to start the dialogue, just kind of a more fun, natural environment, just how their week went. Maybe do it at, at the end of the week, maybe on Saturday, like a game night, and just pull the cards out and just, and it doesn't have to be exactly like this, but you can kind of create your own. But I think with the hearts, that's really a good way for kids to express how they're feeling at school or how they would like to feel at school. Clubs, things that grew, new ideas. I mean, that's a given. What new ideas did you get from school? Again, it doesn't have to always be content. Um, Diamonds, gems that last forever. Definitely ask them about that. What do you get? What did you get from the week, or what did you get from the month of school that you took away that you feel that you could use it for outside of school? Just kind of just some natural things that you would do as a student growing into an adult. Spades used to dig in the garden. This generates conversation about planning new ideas. Maybe if your child had a rough week, how do we want to start over again? What new ideas can we set in place? Definitely after long breaks, this would even be a great thing too, to just kind of start that conversation. It's kind of hard to go back after breaks. Just maybe just having a little bit of fun. So I just thought of that when I saw the cards. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I'm going to do this with my own kids. So, but again, it's just something fun, something different, and engaging.
Yeah, and something we've just learned from Tiffany also is that we can turn anything into a learning moment and some type of discussion with our kids and family. So thank you, Tiffany, for sharing that.
Of course.
I will be using some of those with my kids tonight as well. So we can kind of start moving forward here. And so if there's any comments, any additional questions, we've been seeing them roll into the chat. Feel free to continue to put those in as long as we have it open. And as we move forward, if you have any questions about code of civility, yonder pouches, anything that we've kind of discussed here, feel free to reach out Student Services Department, right? Mr. Maniscalco and Dr. Summer. They can always reach out to Student Services Department for any clarifications, or if you're more comfortable, you can always reach out to your campus principal and they can reach out to us as well. And so we are everywhere. And so if you see us out and about, please don't be shy, say hello.
Thank you for joining us this evening. We appreciate you all joining us and learning more about the Code of Civility and how you can help us and partner with us together to build those relationships with your child, with your school, with the whole district and the community. And we thank you for this evening. Ms. Lee, did you have anything else we need to add?
Yes, I was just turning my sound back on. I did see a question in the chat, and I can't get back to it, but it was something along the lines of most often you see it as diversity, inclusion, and equity. And they noticed on the screen that for us, it's equity, diversity, and inclusion, and just asking why. And so I did want to just quickly say, as a district, we think that all three are important. We decided to lead with equity because as a district, our goal is to really ensure that all students in our district can receive an equitable education where all students, I just realized my video is off still. We want to, the best degree possible, ensure that students, when they are in RISD, that we can remove and eliminate as many barriers as possible for all students. And so we decided to lead with equity for that reason, because that is our goal. We're constantly looking at our systems and our structures, our processes, our procedures, taking in good parent feedback. What are those barriers that are in place that kind of prohibit students from thriving while they are with us and in our care? And those are the things that we're always actively working to make sure we can eliminate those barriers and those obstacles. And that's why we lead with equity. Again, we believe all three are important. We decided to change it up and lead with the word equity, ensuring that we have equitable systems and processes district-wide for our students. Before you all go, if you'll go to the last slide, I do want to just make sure that all of you have had the opportunity to take our family engagement survey. This is a current survey that is out there right now. If you have already taken it, thank you for participating. If you haven't taken it, at the bottom, you will see that we do have the link that will take you directly to the survey. Jonah is also going to put that link in the chat. If you just want to go ahead and click on it, we would appreciate your responses. One of our goals, according to our year 2 strategic plan for family engagement, was to roll out a unique parent engagement survey, really wanting some good, honest feedback from you all around some different areas that we believe that where we have room to grow, and we would love to know what you think we're doing well and where you think we can grow. And so again, Jonah is going to link that parent engagement survey link in the chat. Please click on it. If you don't have time to take it right now, please take a screenshot of the link and you can go back and pull it up later. But we would love to have as many families as possible participate in that survey because we welcome your feedback. With that, we are going to go ahead and close out our Parent University for tonight. It's right at 7 o'clock. We did really well with managing and honoring the time. Again, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you being here. And again, I want to remind you that Parent University is every 4th Monday, except during those months like November, December, and May, when we really only have 3 good weeks. That's when it will be hosted on the 3rd Monday of the month. Otherwise, every 4th Monday. Again, I know it looks like some of you are hanging back and you're clicking on that link, trying to get in and take the survey. We appreciate that. But this is the official ending and closing out of tonight's Parent University. Jonah, is that linked in the chat as well? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Link is in the chat.
Thank you.
And I thank you for fixing the sound issues.
You're welcome. Thank you. We'll get it together next time and really figure it out. So
That was so weird because we tested it on Friday and it was just fine. And as soon as I shared my screen, all my controls went away. So then I couldn't even figure out how to unmute.
yeah, I think it's a webinar style. It's just so different. So
Yes.
we'll get it.
Very different.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you,
you
guys.
guys. Thanks,
Have
Angie.
a good evening.
You're welcome, Joe. Jonah, is there a way to print out the chat? I want to make sure we can capture that to
Yes,
make sure we caught all of the comments.
all the chat will be saved. So there's going to be a summary of the webinar tonight.
Okay. I just want to make sure if we missed something or didn't respond to something, that we can loop back around.
I think there was one that was in there, but Joe handled that regarding the code of civility.
The code and the staff.
Employees, because there's one, it is on the website under employees.
Okay, that's the
We've
one that I was wanting to make sure we address.
We've had that question multiple times, and it's, it really is from a reading, like when you read the code, it doesn't address the teacher. Specifically, it's implied that they don't have any responsibilities, but so that'll be version 2.
Mhm.
We'll make sure that that's out there as well. So
Love that. Love that. Again, if you are a participant and still here, we have officially closed out Parent University. But if you are still typing in the chat, we welcome your feedback, your comments. We're still here looking a little bit, making sure that we have not missed answering any questions. Outside of that, the link to the Family University, not Family University, but the Family Engagement Survey was also put in the chat, and we welcome your feedback through that survey as well. And thank you for participating with us tonight.
Good night, everyone. Have a good one.